Avengers, Assemble. Welcome back to Sanders Presents. I'm Greg, and if you're enjoying the content we're producing, then please consider following that link in the description below if you are able, and become an Avenger by joining our Patreon today. We have two tiers available, a $3 tier and a $5 tier. Both tiers net you access to our exclusive Avengers Mansion Discord channel, exclusive videos, exclusive live streams, content that we can't share across social media for fear of getting our channels and social media presence stricken down due to copyright. But in addition to that, for the Avenger Premium $5 tier, you'll also net comics. You'll get a producer credit in every video. As such, you'll be a founding Avenger, and your name will be added to our Avenger Memorial. And I want to thank Fairy Cake Ed, Fly Guy 215, One Shot, One Kill, Treasure Valentine, and Fishy for becoming Avengers Premium members and supporting the channel and supporting our content. And thank you all so much, all of my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. So let's get into it. Amy Pascal comes out. Amy Pascal says, oh my God, we're making more Spider-Man movies, which is obvious. I mean, they're going to make more Spider-Man movies or else they lose the license. None of that's shocking. And they do have to get it started on development. We already knew that Sony was already moving ahead with developing future Spider-Man films. They have to get started as soon as possible because they have to make Spider-Man films within a certain amount of time. So none of that surprises me. They've already been moving on it. Whether, whatever happens with Disney / Marvel and Tom Holland, it doesn't matter. They have to get a Spider-Man film ready. On top of the fact that they're going to want to have Spider-Man out. Spider-Man makes a ton of money. Again, just evidenced by the fact that in 24 hours, it broke all post-crisis sales records. Spider-Man was huge and massive. Some of that, again, could be debated, by the nostalgia bait, which, again, is fine. Nostalgia is a powerful tool. I say use it in marketing. I'm a huge proponent of nostalgia bait. But on top of all of that, of course, we've covered this thoroughly throughout our Lost channel and where we are now, and it's been discussed thoroughly in our Discord. But Tom Holland has said, if I don't know if I want to be playing Spider-Man when I'm 30 and all this and all that, and that's fine. But honestly, again, we've had multiple actors play Spider-Man, even if you go back to the 70s and the older live-action Spider-Man show, or the one in Japan as well. But my point is that these characters are bigger than any one actor. Eventually, they'll all be replaced. That's fine, and I look forward to it because, again, they make money. They will continue on. They have to continue on. These characters are bigger. Peter Parker is bigger than any one actor. Tony Stark is bigger than any one actor. And, of course, Tom Holland, so you get all these clickbait articles. Amy Pascal confirms it. She didn't exactly. She just said that they were developing it. That's a very different phrase. I know clickbait likes to, clickbait likes to clickbait, but again, she didn't outright. There's not like a huge formal announcement. Amy Pascal said we are developing. Again, that's technically true. They have to develop Spider-Man films because they got to make them. But then Tom Holland, of course, he's now getting asked about it because clickbait feeds more clickbait. And, of course, they're on the press tour. And Tom Holland said it looks like an incredibly bright future ahead. So what can we glean from all this? Well, if you've been following the Discord, if you've been in the other channel, obviously, you've already seen my comments on this thoroughly. It's a marketing tool. It's a negotiating tool. Tom Holland wants more money. There's nothing wrong with that. We can debate, now a separate debate can be had on how much, people in Hollywood make, and some of you may already know where I land on that side, but it is purely a negotiating tool. Tom Holland's contract is up. He has no future films under contract. It's now time to go to the table and get more money if they want him back. If they really want him back as Spider-Man, they're going to have to pay for it. So again, that's purely it. It's just a negotiating tactic. Tom Holland's going to say whatever he needs to say to get more money. He's going to say whatever he needs to say to get more convenience, to get more authority, more power, more control over Spider-Man films, over his schedule, over this, over that. That's all there is to it. He's just you do this. It's negotiating, pure and simple. The rest of it's immaterial. If he doesn't come back as Spider-Man, Sony still has to make Spider-Man films. We'll just have another new Spider-Man. Whether or not it will still be connected to Marvel Studios, whether or not it's going to be MCU, those are all other topics and other conversations that clickbait will feed into for weeks to come, especially as we get closer and closer to No Way Home and its release. Now, myself personally, I easily could see Tom Holland reprising his role in another trilogy. Wouldn't shock me at all to see Tom Holland return for 3 more Spider-Man films, a couple of more Avenger films, and maybe he stops when he's 30, or maybe his other films and other franchises bomb, and he says, you know what, I'll just keep coming back. To each their own. Whatever. It's impossible to know because it's in the future and it's in the far future. But I think realistically, depending on where the money's at, depending on where Sony's at, depending on how No Way Home does, I don't see a negotiation being finalized until after No Way Home releases. Because you have Sony on one side who's going to wait and see how well No Way Home does, and Tom Holland and his agent and his agency will be doing the same thing. They're going to wait to see how No Way Home does before they come to the table to negotiate and say, listen, No Way Home did this well. Well, we feel like Tom should be getting a bigger cut. We feel like Tom should be making this much now for another trilogy. We feel like he's being shorted, blah, blah, blah. It happens very often. So again, anything signed on the dotted line, it's not going to happen prior to the release of No Way Home. It'd be idiotic. There is no agent in their right mind. There is no firm in their right mind that's going to have Tom Holland sign on for multiple Spider-Man films before the release of No Way Home, because everybody knows No Way Home is going to be huge and it's going to be a great negotiating tactic. Especially depends on, how it ends, which again, this is spoiler free. I'm not going to get into any topics or any kind of spoilers or leaks like that here. But again, it has to wait. So you're going to see clickbait for weeks on end because, again, it's Spider-Man. It's poised to be the biggest movie of the year based on pre-sale tickets. It's going to be huge and explosive and massive, and that's great. Bravo to Marvel. Bravo to Sony. Bravo to Spider-Man. Bravo to nostalgia. But really, all you're going to see until Spider-Man comes out is just clickbait. I would legitimately be shocked if anybody signs on the dotted line before the release of the film, because you need it in negotiations. You need this in a negotiating tactic. You have to wait for the film. You have to wait for opening weekend. You need to see how it does before you come back to the table. And since No Way Home releases so close to the holiday, I don't imagine any negotiations or anything being signed on the dotted line around Christmas. So it probably won't be until the new year where we maybe start hearing stuff where, again, maybe the trades will start reporting on negotiations, whispers, and stuff will get out as agents try to fuel the flames to, Tom Holland's agent will fuel the flames to try to get more money. Little things like that will leak out to marketing firms. Again, it's all business. This is just how it works. It sounds kind of underhanded and it sounds all kind of crummy, but this is the Hollywood business. Ultimately, yeah, I won't be surprised if Tom Holland comes back for, again, 5 or 6 more films. Again, divided between 3 Spider-Man films and 2 or 3 Avengers appearances, and maybe or 2 Avenger appearances and appearance in another film like Fantastic Four. But I digress. Anyway, in the comments below, let me know if you have any further questions. I've saw a lot of this in the Discord. Obviously, I know we've talked about it in the Discord. But if you have anything else to ask, anything else to chime in on, I absolutely look forward to hearing your thoughts. To my Avengers, thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. I really do appreciate it. And if you are able, please consider following that link in the description below by becoming an Avenger and joining our Patreon today. Thank you. And to everyone, thank you for being a part of the conversation. I truly, really do appreciate it. Please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking that share button and sharing this content across social media before you leave. It helps immensely with YouTube's analytics and algorithms, and it lets YouTube know, hey, we should recommend this channel. People kind of like it. Above all else, and most importantly, stay safe, take care of others, and have an absolutely wonderful day. Bye, everyone.